Hey friends, what's up and welcome back to my channel to today's Dazzled or Disappointed, because that's really all you're gonna get this week. There were several new releases that really just were things I was wanting, and you guys know I'm back to being a little more selective about what I buy, but it seems like the makeup industry will release everything at one time, and so today I have a review for you on the new Natasha Denona Sunrise palette. I was so excited for this one. So I've got several things for you today. Swatches, of course, description, my thoughts, and a small little demo on how I did this eye look today. So if you're interested in seeing if this is up to par with her full-size palettes, because this is smaller, and if this is right for you, if you're just wanting to see all the details, then stay tuned and keep watching. Alright guys, so I'm pretty sure you've already been watching other reviews, other videos. That's the thing about YouTube these days, is that literally day one that something launches, videos are already popping up. And so I am a few days in to this release. But in case you have not seen what the difference is in the sizes, this is what it looks like. This is a full size. This is what the Sunrise looks like. We'll go into more detail here shortly. But for reference, here is the box. I love the candy apple chrome red. Oh, love it. It's different, and I'm here for it. So let's just go ahead and jump real quick into Sephora's site, give you some details on this. It is $65, which if you are familiar with Natasha Denona palettes, you know them to be $129. So definitely a price difference there. It's a palette inspired by the warm glow of a morning sunrise with sunny yellows, crimson corals, earthy browns, and powerful pinks, all made to melt together in perfect harmony. It is cruelty-free, free of parabens, and then the Sunrise palette features 15 brand new shades in Natasha Denona's iconic formulas. These shades are packed with the highest quality ingredients to create buttery soft textures that blend seamlessly for vibrant, ultra-pigmented, long-lasting looks. The duochromes, velvety mattes, and sparkling metallic hues will elevate your senses and inspire you to create your very own radiant works of art. That was so descriptive, something you'd read out of like a novel or something. So we've already gone through the exterior packaging, and I love that the package of the palette itself matches that of the box, because I usually keep the box if it's different and I really like it, but in this case, it's the same. So this is the same chrome metallic red. I just love it. It reminds me of something like Snow White, the red apple. I don't know. That's just me being a Disney geek. But this is what it looks like. Same thing, same format as her most recent hard palettes, is that it's got the little like pinhole in the back. That way you can pop them out if you want to place them in a Z palette. I personally am not a fan of Z palettes. I like to keep mine in their regular cases, and so, but the option is there. Obviously, mirror just in Natasha Denona format. It covers the entire inside cover. And then here you do have 15 shades. I will tell you real quick, it is 19.25 grams or 0.67 ounces of product. It is made in Italy and has a shelf life of 24 months. I am seeing these shelf lives get longer and longer, and it looks like I'm looking at her Safari palette, same thing. So it's something that looks to be pretty consistent with her eyeshadow palettes, which is really nice. I keep mine past the expiration date, guys, so but just for reference, let me bring you in real close. Hopefully I'm not blinding you with the shine of the palette there, but this is what they look like. And then now that I've given you the difference of the inside or the outside size, let me kind of just show you the contrast of sizes here. So that's, I mean, that's the difference. Quite frankly, are you ever going to go through one of these whole palettes? Probably not. I'd place bets on that. So before we go into the demo, I do want to go through swatches for you so that you can see these up close in case you haven't already seen them. And so let me grab these. Let's go through that together, and then we'll go into the demo. First four, we've got Poppy, Citrine, Phlox, and Awakening. Excuse me. For reference, I'm just getting over strep throat, and so I am not on my A game. Like, I am not feeling super amazing. So sorry if I get choked up from time to time, but here is what those first 4 look like. You're probably already thinking that the pigmentation is ridiculously rich and opaque, and you are right. Next up, we have got Laurel, Aster, Glory, and Azalea. Aster is one of those duochromes. I feel like a lot of brands are putting this type of shade. It's kind of like that lilac shade with this holographic type of glitter. It's the one I don't yet own the Morphe 39S, but I think there's one very similar in that. And I know a lot of brands are coming out with this type of shade. So that's what that looks like right there. Here we go. Next to last set, we've got Morgan. I don't know how to pronounce this. I'm going to say it's Agate, maybe, A-G-A-T-E. I am very possibly mispronouncing that. I'm not familiar with that word. That's the first time I've heard that. Clove and Carnelian. Here are our last 3, Jasper, Morning, and Dayspring. Alright guys, before we go into the demo, that wraps up the swatches. There are, like I mentioned, 15 shades in this eyeshadow palette. For my matte girls, there are 7 mattes, and then there are 8 of the metallic and duochrome, that whole mix of the standout type shades is what I call them, because that's what I prefer. So it's a pretty well balanced palette as far as the mix of mattes and shimmer, foil, duochrome, that kind of thing. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and go into the demo, and we'll be right back with my final thoughts. I'm going to start out using a blending brush, and I'm going to grab the yellow shade called Citrine. And I'm just going to place this all over my crease area. And this one does go on with a good amount of color, but because it's a yellow, it does need to be layered a couple of times. Next up, I'm going to go in with a smaller blending brush and going in with the shade Glory. And I'm just going to grab a good amount and start placing this lower on the crease from that yellow. So I still want that yellow to peek through, but I am going to place this right under that, starting from the very inner corner. I'm also going to go in with the shade Clove, and this is going to go in that same part of the crease right under the yellow, but just kind of attaching to the Glory shade, going from obviously pink to darker on the outer and placing this on the outer portion of my lid as well. Next, I'm going to take a detailing brush and I'm going back in with that shade Glory. And I'm really just going to place this on the inner portion of the lid and the crease where the blending brush really couldn't get in. If you start going in with the blending brush just in that little area, it gets kind of messy. I'm going to go back in with the shade Citrine, and I'm going to kind of just reapply a little bit so that you can still see that yellow peeking through on top. Next up, I'm going to use my finger and I'm going to go in with the shade Dayspring. These shades apply best when used with a finger, when applying with the finger. Next, using the shade Awakening, I'm going to then put this on the middle to inner portion of the lid, kind of blending it in with that Dayspring shade. Now I'm just going to grab a little brush for my inner corner, and I'm going in with the shade Aster, and it's kind of like a lilac shade with holographic glitter. It's beautiful. And I'm just placing a little bit of that on the inner corner, and I'm blending it up a little bit into that Glory shade. And now I'm just going to go in with a liner brush, and I'm just going to buff some of that shade Glory on my lower lash line. And just to mirror what we did on the crease, we're going to take the shade Clove and put that on the outer portion of the lower lash line. Just taking my Marc Jacobs Glam Jam, I think it's called Glam Jam, liner. I'm just lining my waterline. And that's it. This is the finished look. Alright, you guys, I hope you enjoyed that demo real quick there. So, you guys know it's time for my final thoughts in regular dazzled or disappointed fashion. So, the packaging, I love the packaging. As far as the hard shell, it's nothing new. It is the same hard shell packaging, but I love the color. It's new. I love that she's coming out with these different things, and so I do love the packaging, and you guys know I am a sucker for packaging. Alright, let's go ahead and go into the inside of this bad boy and break down the actual shades. So as far as the mattes, they perform beautifully. I have found that with the yellows, I layer them because the first layer does go on a little bit more sheer, but I have found that to be the case with most yellows I have used. That's just seems to be consistent with that type of shade. Unless you're going to go in with something like NYX Milk Crayon or something as like a super stark white base. That typically is the case with yellows, like canary yellows and things like that, unless it's a rich mustard. But you really kind of have to layer. So I like to layer 2 or 3 times to really get the look that I want in the crease. So all the mattes I have found to be creamy, rich, and formula like this. They have a very rich, thick type of formula. It's just consistent with her large palettes as well. I think I mentioned this when I was using the Biba palette in one of my last videos, is that they basically blend themselves, and that's what you pay for in a luxury product. It's what you would expect to get when you pay that much for a luxury product. And I find this to be the case exactly with this palette as well. They blend themselves. It's pretty much effortless, which cuts down your eyeshadow prep time. Like doing your eyeshadow can take a long time if you're struggling, and you get no struggle with this. As far as what my favorite shades are, those standout metallic foiled shades, I love them. I love to use my finger though. I have found using a brush, I'm not really as thrilled with the application. I have to go in with 2 or 3 layers. It ends up kind of carving out, you know, my pan of product. So I have found, just like I did in the demo, and it's like you guys know, this type of, not formula, but this type of eyeshadow finish. Gosh, I'm just really struggling, guys, sorry. Any palette, I prefer to use my finger. You get more opacity, you use less product, you get, you know, what you need, bam, you're done. So using my finger is the preferred application. Here's the funny thing. I find that usually with my first impression of something, like I get a pretty good indicator of whether I'm going to love it or hate it, and then my uses after that just solidify one or the other. My very first use of this palette, I used Azalea all over my lid, and I'm going to tell you that I have a very love-hate relationship with that shade for several reasons, and I'm telling you this in case you purchase this and that's one of the first shades you use, and I don't want you to be left with a bad taste in your mouth. This is one of those types of shades that's very piecey and very like sheer. Like when you put it on your lid, you can see a lot of your lid still. It's very bare. And so I'm not crazy about the formula of that one shadow. I will, however, tell you that as the day went on, it almost made my lid look like it had a little twinkle, red twinkle, which was kind of nice. But that's where I say it's kind of a love-hate, because it's not one of my favorite pans of product to use. Even using a brush, using it wet, and using my finger, because that's my preferred method, that just, it's one that I could have done without. So I just want you to know that was my very first impression with the palette, and I was like, oh, I don't know that I'm going to like this palette as much as I love her others. And as I've been using this more and more, I'm like, I love this palette so much. So obviously I'm dazzled by it. And I don't want you to think that, man, every Natasha Denona product that comes out, she's just automatically going to be dazzled by it. No, I really honestly thought after the first use of this palette that I was not going to be happy with it, because that shade just left such a bad taste in my mouth. But it could be, if you own this palette and you have found a great way to use that shade, please let me know in the comment section below. I love to learn different tips and tricks as well, so we're all on this learning bus for, for all things makeup. But anyways, aside from that shade, every other shade is so easy to work with, so pigmented, so rich, and it really does help me visualize a sunrise. In using the yellows, and especially this pink right here, I don't know, it's something like when you drive out early in the morning and you just see the sunrise and you're like, wow, like God's creation is so amazing. It's kind of like that. Like, it's just, I mean, you know, it's weird to compare something so grand to something on my eyeball or on my eyelid, but I really do get the sunrise vibe. I think this is just well thought out, well put together, and the last thing I'm going to say about this that just really solidifies my reason for being dazzled by this is the price point. 100%, 1000%, I would rather pay $65 than $129 for something I'm never going to finish. I'm never going to even go through this one. 1000%, I wish she would come out with this size going forward, because these big ones are just, they are very, very expensive. This makes it a little bit more attainable for more people. Allows people to try a luxury brand, and honestly, you get 15 shades. That's a lot of shades for 65 bucks, and that's something you'd pay for like a Huda palette or even a holiday, maybe Urban Decay palette or something. I don't know. But this is a Dazzled A+++. She did it again, and I'm not surprised. I was going to be surprised after that first use, but so easy to work with, guys. Don't hesitate. I say pick it up and put it to the test. It's great. Alright guys, thanks again for putting up with me today with all this congestion, a little bit of like brain, I mean, let's just say it, brain farts. But thank you guys. I hope you found this helpful. I hope you'll consider subscribing if you are new to my channel, because I would love for this not to be the last time you visit. And that you give this video a thumbs up if you did find it useful, helpful, entertaining, or enjoyable. Before I let you go, I just want to encourage you by giving you the verse of the day. Today's comes from Micah 6:8, and it says, "He has shown you, O mortal, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God." I have to say, guys, that humbleness, just being humble, is so attractive. I just, you know, people who are humble and down to earth are just so easy to get along with, and I just encourage you to be like that. It shows true beauty from within. Guys, thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for more Dazzled or Disappointed coming your way this week. I love each and every one of you, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye.